Where'd you get the water to make coffee?
I just took it out of the Oya.
Oh, you did you? Well, we didn't carry that water up here for you to make coffee, see?
I'm sorry, I didn't know water was so hard to get.
Yeah, well, you know it now.
Thought perhaps I was among civilized men who wouldn't begrudge me a little fresh water.
Who's not civilized?
Water, like so many other commodities, becomes more valuable at times of scarcity. It sometimes takes a drought before we fully appreciate water as a life-sustaining necessity. Cycles of drought have played a significant role during the history of the Southwest. Anthropologists speculate that some of the earliest inhabitants of the desert Southwest, a people known as the ancient Puebloans, vanished from their canyon homes almost 1,000 years ago because of prolonged drought. More recently, a record drought hit Colorado in 2002, depleting water supplies, lowering reservoirs, and raising fears of water shortages. Overall inflow that spring from the Colorado River to Lake Powell, a critical reservoir for millions of people in the Southwest, was only 14% of average, an all-time low. By October, large portions of the state faced mandatory water restrictions.
Probably the biggest impact from drought is that it woke everybody up to the scarcity of water in this state. Most people until 2002, 2003 turned the faucet on and that was about all they knew about water. We couldn't ask for something better. Now, do we ever hope we see another drought like that? No. But it also has gotten all the water managers talking in a way that I don't think we were prior to the drought.
This event alerted water managers to the need for a range of solutions. The Colorado legislature created regional roundtables of water customers and water managers to identify critical water management issues. These roundtables have identified 3 major water challenges: population growth, energy development, and climate change.
We're going to have to be very innovative in the type of solutions we look for. And those solutions, I think, will be not any just one solution, but will be many. And all those things need to be looked at with an open mind and evaluate the costs, both the economic cost as well as the social cost of each of those and what it's going to do to our environment and the very values that we value here in Colorado.
Balancing growing demands against an uncertain supply of water requires a mix of solutions to the water puzzle. These puzzle pieces include water conservation, additional water storage, smart land use, and innovative sharing among all water users.
Conservation is going to be critical. Colorado, as a state, needs to undertake all actions necessary to use water in the most efficient way.
Inefficient and wasteful use of water directly impacts the pastoral value of Colorado. And 3 major approaches to saving water are municipal conservation, reuse technologies, and increased agricultural efficiency. Municipal solutions include public awareness and education, installation of low-flow water fixtures, and xeriscaping, a water-efficient landscaping technique in urban and suburban areas. Water efficiency is gaining traction in municipalities through public relations outreach and educating citizens in water-wise behavior.
We experienced a tremendous drought in 2002 through 2004, and we wanted to use that drought as an example of what our customers could do long-term by using water efficiently. And so we incorporated a system of community-based social marketing. So our campaign uses a lot of advertising, television advertising.
I love it. Extra water makes me extra awesome. Hey!
We do billboard advertising, and it's a fun way to look at water conservation and water efficiency. So our Use Only What You Need campaign does create awareness, but then the challenge becomes to change behavior. And what our conservation program does is it identifies the barriers to behavior change. For some people, it's the amount of money they have to spend, and so we created rebate programs on high-efficiency toilets that only use 1.28 gallons per flush to get rid of some of the older fixtures that are out there. And we're seeing a 20% reduction in how water is used even indoors, a significant reduction in how water is used in irrigation, and we want to maintain that.
One of the most consumptive municipal water demands comes from watering lawns, which accounts for more than half of water use in a typical Colorado home. This statewide consumptive use has become a pressing concern for legislators.
It's the outdoor watering that's causing the problem, and I don't have a lot of sympathy for that. And I don't want to see water move from my part of the state to the other side of the state so they can do outdoor irrigation. It's a waste, and it needs to be addressed.
Many municipalities are striving to curtail lawn sprinkling by encouraging xeriscaping. This practice of landscaping with low-water plants has been shown to curtail water use by up to 60% compared to conventional landscaping.
Timber water actually was the originator of the term xeriscape back in the 1980s. That followed a drought as well, and we wanted people to have a better way of dealing with their landscaping than just putting turf down from fence line to fence line. And so we have a long history of teaching people to use native, low water using plants. Part of that is getting xeriscape out in a commercial setting, in a park setting, so that people can see it, embrace it. The more we see of this, the more that's on the street as people are driving by, the more interested they are in putting it in their own landscaping.
The ever-increasing need for water conservation is prompting municipalities to seek innovative technological solutions. One of those solutions is the reuse of municipal water explored by the City of Aurora.
We have under construction now a $700 million project which takes our returns that we have already used in our system back out of the river 34 miles downstream, pumps it back up to Aurora, puts it to the state-of-the-art purification facility, and brings it back through the system again and again. And these types of innovative treatment and reuse techniques, like I said, I think are the future.
Another component of conservation is agricultural efficiency. In Colorado, farmers and ranchers rely on water and have perhaps the best understanding of water use of any water customer. As a result, many are striving to conserve water as a proactive, cooperative solution to potential shortages. This requires a mix of solutions specific to individual farms and ranches. These approaches include several key solutions. Ditch lining has multiple benefits. It reduces leakage and protects water quality. Pressurized sprinkler systems result in water savings for certain crops. Microjet or drip irrigation systems provide for more efficient irrigation. Reusing water through pumped recirculation improves both water efficiency and crop yields.
We have on this farm set up our irrigation to where we pick up our runoff water, our wastewater, and put it back into our irrigation system. And in some cases, we may use the water as much as 4 times.
Regardless of innovative agricultural practices, the prospect of rising demand will increase reliance on additional water storage. Water storage is a key component to water management in Colorado. Reservoirs are built to capture snowmelt from streams, store up a surplus, and release water gradually for downstream users. Additional water storage could provide needed water supplies as a form of insurance for future uncertainty.
We're still going to have to store water. That's why most of us are here, because we stored water for 150 years. We can't lose sight of the fact that no matter what a good job we do conserving the water and spreading it around, you still got to put it somewhere so you can use it in those times when it's dry and later in the year.
Water storage systems include reservoirs, ponds, and underground storage. Examples of recently developed reservoirs include Wolford Mountain Reservoir, built and operated by the Colorado River District, and Elkhead Reservoir, enlarged by the River District, operate under cooperative agreements for multiple uses, including storage, energy production, crop irrigation, endangered species protection, and recreation. Another water storage component relies on smaller, microsystems that are being pioneered by farmers and ranchers who construct ponds to store water and to serve as catchment ponds for reusing water.
We put in this 2-surface acre pond that's about 10 feet deep, and we're able to distribute that water to 25 acres that before was no man's land. So with putting this pond in, catching our wastewater, and still having a wildlife habitat area here, we were able to irrigate 25 acres and get 2 hay crops off of it, and then graze our cattle there during the winter months. And it's been very beneficial.
In urban areas, replenishing natural groundwater at times of plenty has emerged as a novel strategy for enhancing municipal water sources.
You recharge the aquifer in times of plenty. You store it, you replenish the groundwater resources, and then in times of drought, when you don't have the ability to divert off the river, you turn on the wells, and you use your underground stored supply.
Such innovations are pushing the envelope in water management. Another major piece of the puzzle for water solutions is smart land use. This can be achieved through legislative guidelines that require new development to prove adequate water supply. Urban planners are then charged with implementing those guidelines for local land use planning. Recently, the state enacted mandates for development intended to protect future water supplies throughout Colorado.
The issue that we're facing is increasing domestic demand, municipal and industrial demand, and we need to think about whether we're using water as efficiently as we can at that level. We ran legislation to make sure that communities identify whether or not the water supply is adequate when there's new growth proposed.
House Bill 1141 puts more emphasis on really proving that there's an adequate legal water supply. In that sense, it's a step in the right direction. And it really comes down to now how the counties are going to implement that.
Urban planners will be faced with implementing state requirements to prove available water supplies for future development.
In the planning process, the consideration and the importance of water has taken on higher levels of prominence than it ever has before. And many developers are finding ways to innovate with water conservation, efficiency, and recycling methods being implemented in order to use less water to develop communities that normally would have used much more water.
Innovative sharing is a conceptual approach that could be implemented at times of need. This sharing could entail giving up traditional water use in one area and applying it to another, resulting in benefits to all parties. Three components of sharing are water banking, rotational fallowing, and trans-mountain diversions.
We're looking at a way of developing a water bank where the owners of the senior rights that are primarily agricultural could put those rights or the consumptive use associated with those rights into a bank for payment, and the uses from those rights can be transferred to critical uses throughout the state.
The creative thinking that's gone into the idea of a water bank is certainly something that needs to be considered.
The idea is very good. We've studied it on occasion. We're going to have to get to the point where somebody's willing to put up some money to support that water bank, and I'm not sure we're there yet. And that may take the next drought for us to understand the absolute necessity for that.
It's a new idea. It's not going to be implemented anytime soon. We think it's the kind of concept that requires 5, 10, maybe even 15 years to develop. But we're encouraged by the response we're getting from users throughout the basin, both from the west slope and the east slope, that this kind of water bank is necessary as an insurance policy against a future severe drought.
Another component of innovative sharing is rotational fallowing, the leasing of water from agricultural producers and applying that water to a municipal or industrial use. Water rights are retained, agricultural producers stay in business, and critical needs are met without drying up valuable land. The final piece, and perhaps most controversial, of innovative sharing is trans-mountain water diversions. Where historically they have answered some water needs, future trans-mountain diversions are seen as complex, expensive, and highly contentious. Still, trans-mountain diversions may be one of the state's overall water management tools.
The new generation of trans-mountain diversions, if they occur, will have to go farther to the west, and they'll be much more expensive. They'll have to go downstream and pump water back to the Continental Divide, and those are going to be very expensive. They're going to be very difficult. Our view is that before we undertake a new large trans-mountain diversion or diversions and expand those impacts, we have to do what we can for conservation, reuse, and we really have to understand the impact of climate change as well as energy development. The nightmare scenario for the West Slope is that trans-mountain diversions in the future take our clean headwaters away, so we really don't want to avoid a situation where we have to provide water for both the Front Range and for energy, and it comes at the expense of West Slope quality of life.
Putting together the pieces of Colorado's water puzzle into a picture of long-term, equitable, and environmentally sound solutions is one of the biggest challenges facing Colorado today. It will require numerous water management tools, innovative solutions, and above all, cooperation between water users.
I think as we look for solutions to the issues of water shortages here in Colorado, it's very important that we work together with all the different stakeholders represented. We need to bring the people who know agriculture to the table so that they can look for solutions with agriculture, along with those in energy, those in the municipal providers. We want to keep our state the kind of place that people want to live and the kind of place that provides an economic success for agriculture and for other types of businesses. And that can only be done by working together cooperatively to look for solutions.